So, let's talk about a truly monumental mind. A single person whose work is basically the foundation for India's greatest epic and its most sacred texts. We are, of course, talking about the legendary seer Maharishi Ved Vyasa.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Who is the person that not only sits down to write the longest epic poem the world has ever known, but also takes on the job of organizing this massive, ancient body of divine knowledge for all of humanity? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out.
And here's the journey we're about to take. We'll start with his incredible birth, follow his quest for knowledge, see how he organized ancient wisdom, and even saved a kingdom. Then, of course, we'll get to the big one, composing the Mahabharata. And finally, we'll look at the legacy he left behind for all of us.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. And like so many great stories, this one begins with a birth that was anything but ordinary.
Picture this. The great sage Parashar is crossing a river, and the person steering the boat is a fairy woman named Satyavati. But he sees something more, a kind of divine light in her. He knows she's meant for something incredible. Using his yogic powers, he creates this thick, fragrant fog all around them. And in that mystical moment, a child was conceived, a child destined to change the world.
And get this, his birth name is basically his origin story right there in 2 words. He was called Krishna because of his dark skin, and Dwapayana, which literally means island born. It's a direct callback to that river island where he first came into the world.
Now here's the part that is just mind-blowing. Immediately after being born, he instantly grows into a young man and knows his life's purpose. He tells his mother he has to leave for the Himalayas to seek knowledge, but he makes her an incredible promise. Anytime she needs him, all she has to do is think of him, and he will be there in an instant. And just like that, he was off. He began this solitary journey, a path that would lead him to a kind of wisdom that literally transcended time itself. So, up in the Himalayas, Vyasa wasn't just, reading books. He was dedicating himself to the most intense spiritual practices imaginable. Through this incredible focus, he didn't just study texts like the Vedas and Upanishads, he completely mastered them, absorbing their absolute deepest truths.
His devotion was so profound, so off the charts, that he caught the attention of Lord Brahma, the creator god. Brahma granted him a divine gift, a kind of superpower. He became a Trikaldarshi. This meant he could see everything, the past, the present, and the future, all at once. And believe me, this power was going to be absolutely essential for what came next.
Okay, so now he has this incredible power to see all of time. What's the first thing he does? He undertakes his first massive project, not creating new knowledge, but saving all the old wisdom for a world he knew was changing.
You see, Vyasa looked into the future and saw a problem. He saw that humanity was entering a new age, the Kali Yuga, where people's ability to remember things would start to fade. The single enormous body of knowledge called the Veda, which had always been passed down orally, was just too huge and complex. He knew it was in real danger of being lost forever.
So what was his solution? It was brilliant, really. He acted like a master librarian for the cosmos. He took that one massive Veda and carefully divided it into 4 manageable parts. You have the Rig Veda for hymns, the Yajur Veda for rituals, the Sama Veda for chants and melodies, and the other Veda which deals with things like spells and medicine. He then gave each Veda to one of his top disciples to preserve. And because he organized the Vedas, he earned the title we all know him by, Veda Vyasa, the compiler of the Vedas. But Vyasa wasn't just some scholar locked away on a mountain. No way. His story was about to take a very personal, very dramatic turn that would put him right at the center of history.
Remember that promise he made to his mother, Satyavati? Well, after Vyasa left, she went on to marry King Shantanu. But tragedy struck when both of her sons, the heirs to the kingdom, died without having any children. The entire royal line was about to go extinct. Just when all hope seemed lost, Satyavati remembered her son's promise. She simply thought of him, and true to his word, Vyasa appeared. To save the dynasty, he used his divine power, and through him, the next generation of princes were born, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and the wise Vidura.
And that brings us to the big one, his masterpiece. Having seen the past, lived in the present, and foreseeing the epic conflict that was coming for the very dynasty he helped create, Vyasa knew he had to tell its story. All of it. Now, to write an epic this huge, you can't just grab any scribe. You need someone on a whole other level. So he went to Lord Ganesh. Ganesh agreed, but he had a condition. Vyasa had to dictate the whole thing without ever stopping, not even for a second. Vyasa thought about it and said, "Deal, but I have a condition for you too. You can't write down a single word unless you understand its meaning first." It was a genius move. It forced Ganesh to pause and think, which gave Vyasa the little breaks he needed to compose the next complex verse.
And the result of this cosmic back and forth? The Mahabharata, a poem with 100,000 verses. I mean, just let that number sink in. It is, by a huge margin, the longest epic poem in the history of the world. It's the ultimate story of family, duty, war, and pretty much every human emotion you can imagine. And there's this one famous line from the epic that just sums it all up perfectly. It basically says, whatever is here, you might find elsewhere, but whatever is not here, well, it exists nowhere. In other words, every story, every dilemma, every aspect of life, it's all in the Mahabharata. So when you put it all together, compiling the Vedas, writing the Mahabharata, what is the final, lasting legacy of this one incredible seer? Well, his legacy is literally everywhere in Indian civilization. He's the man who organized the most sacred texts. He wrote the greatest epic, which also includes the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most important spiritual dialogues ever. And he was the actual ancestor of the heroes and villains of his own story. Through his work, he gave us a timeless guide on the 4 big goals of life: dharma, or right action; artha, or prosperity; kama, or pleasure; and moksha, spiritual liberation.
And here's one last amazing twist to his story. The legend says he never actually died, that he's an immortal, one of the Chiranjeevis. They say he is alive, even today, meditating in some hidden Himalayan cave, still watching over all of us.
And that really just leaves you with this incredible thought, doesn't it? If the great chronicler of the human condition, the seer who can see past, present, and future, is still out there watching, what kind of epic tale would he be composing about our world right now?